Hey, my name is Mark Finnan. I'm Irish-born. I'm a writer, and I moved to Canada in the late 70s and settled in the Cobourg, Peterborough area. And being a writer and interested in history, both Irish and Canadian, naturally I got interested in the Irish immigrants arriving in the area in which I was living. Mainly Cobourg, Northumberland County, and Peterborough especially. And of course the influx of Irish into that area started mainly with what was called the Robinson Settlement, which brought 2,000 plus Irish immigrants in 1825 into the Peterborough area. We were responsible for the creation of Peterborough and many of the farms in the surrounding area. And that was followed by, in 1847, Irish famine immigrants coming in and being landed on the beach in Cobourg. And some of those moved on up into Peterborough, but some of them stayed in the Cobourg area, as did some of the original Robinson settlers back in 1825, and they created what's now known today as the Corktown area of Cobourg, which is a small little area encompassing a few blocks just east of Victoria Park in Cobourg and east of the main beach. And so as a result of researching those, I wrote a couple of plays, one called The Corktown Man, which had to do about the life of a descendant of one of those immigrants who eventually married a native woman, and it tells the whole story of their life, and it has to do with a lot of singing and so forth. So the story was very kind of incorporated much of the traditional music of Ireland and early Canada at the time. The other play that I wrote was the Ballad of Darcy McGee. As you know, of course, McGee was very much involved in the famine story himself, being almost a victim of the famine, of course, being with the Young Irelanders, and then moving here or to America, especially initially in 1847 as a result of a failed rebellion in Ireland. And of course he was with the Young Irelanders. There is a great story told that the reason why the Young Irelanders, who were really interested in a more kind of passive resistance to British rule in Ireland, finally staged this failed rebellion because of a terrible editorial in the London Times that said, "The time now is that, or is shortly coming, when the sight of a Celtic Irishman in Connemara would be as rare as the sight of a Red Indian on the shores of Manhattan. England now has Ireland at her mercy and can do with her as she pleases." And of course the Young Irelanders were incensed by this, and so took to rebellion, and that led to McGee having to leave Ireland, of course. But in the whole story of McGee, there is a great reference to the Irish immigrants, the famine immigrants coming to Canada as well. And that's basically my involvement with that part of the story. Mark Finnan again. In writing the two plays that I wrote, that it had stories related to the famine immigrants coming to Canada, especially the Cobourg and the Peterborough area. I wrote, they incorporated many songs and tunes of the time, both Irish, traditional, and Canadian. And and of course I wrote some songs myself, and one of those was a song called "The Irish Settler Lad," which was recorded by some performers in the Peterborough area. It's available on CD, and that was part of that song, the story, the theatre performance of the Corktown Man.